Welcome to the Land of 10,000 Tears, the official podcast for helpless Vikings fans. Today we have myself, Isaac Adams, Justin Shabrook, Mitchell Foster, Noah Kuzis, and currently eating dinner is Michael Lilga. Missing today is Devin Stevens. He's currently moving. He will be with us again next week. So, if anyone just wants to say hi, have anything to say?
Two more years. That's all I'm going to say. I'll talk about it a little more.
I want to know what you're talking about because I'm kind of confused.
Michael,
2 more years of what?
Well,
I feel like that's 2 years left on Kirk Cousins' deal, I'm assuming.
It also is 2 years left on Dan Bailey's contract, which should be point number one of bringing the Vikings.
Right.
Woes,
So
I
you
guess.
think in 3 years from now we're going to be a better new team?
All right. Well,
This
thank you for
offseason,
joining us, Michael.
three-
You have to blur. Make sure you blur that out.
Here, I got it.
There you go, Michael. You better get a
Better.
koozie on that. We will.
No, we're trying to get sponsored.
We're not trying to get sued. Okay, cease and desist. All right, so Mitch already brought it up, but we will get right off the bat. Let's talk about this past Sunday. Dan Bailey, the man, the myth, the legend, the broken leg.
The product of the
Everything
Vikings
turned it back
curse.
on.
He has to be.
No, he needs big ones on.
Yeah, I mean, before this, it wasn't that I was comfortable with Dan Bailey. I was starting to get that way. The past 2 weeks have been, rough for him, but we also have seen this when he's in Dallas, where he gets on this really cold streak and he just shuts down mentally. Kickers talk a lot about having that fluidity in their game, making sure that they're on top of their, they're doing their steps, protocols. Like a half step was all that determined, Daniel Carlson, 5th-round draft pick in 2018, from being cut because he missed 3 field goals, and then him now being one of the best kickers in the NFL with the Raiders. A half step is all that was fixed. And I don't know if it's so much that, kickers can just be so hot and cold, but there's something to say when a coach has kicking woes throughout his whole time in Minnesota. Zimmer has produced nothing but just 1 or 2 year decent kickers, and then they fall off the edge of the earth and they're in the insane asylum somewhere.
Here's the thing. I don't think, Zimmer, he might have an effect on the majority of the team, but I feel like kicker is the position he has the least effect on.
I was about to agree with that too, yep.
And our kickers have had problems well before we had Zimmer. So it's not really Zimmer's fault.
I will throw this in there, is if you look back at when Blair Walsh was struggling and then that Daniel Carlson game, the reaction of Mike Zimmer to the media was a lot different than this time around with Dan Bailey. Mike Zimmer, I think, learned that publicly ridiculing your kicker is not always the best move.
Yeah,
I agree.
I remember that press conference where they were asking him, why did you cut Daniel Carlson? And he said, did you watch the previous game? That's what he said publicly to the news. So, I mean, he doesn't care for special teams. You can kind of tell he just hates everything about it. He wants to control his defense and his quarterback and everything on the football field, but he could care less about special teams. So I feel like him not, caring puts weight on, the special teams coach, which don't know how Maloof, whatever his name is, has a job right now. It's disgusting.
He's terrible this year.
He will not be back next year.
How is he still on this team?
That has by far throughout the whole season been we've been pretty bad in a lot of areas, but I think special teams has consistently been our worst aspect of our team. Not just Dan Bailey kicking, but the way we punt return, the way we get to the ball on kickoff has just not been good.
Especially since Cordero left. Haven't had a good kick returner or punt returner since then.
And
Oh, definitely. Marcus Sherrills and Cordero Patterson were.
Marcus Sherrills had his stint, though. He had a pretty good year.
He had a solid stretch.
He sucks now. Like last year, we tried to bring him back. He stunk.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. But I want to go back to this Dan Bailey thing as far as do we think he – like, what are your thoughts on – do you think he's staying? Do you think he's going?
Here's the thing,
If
Justin.
he's not cut by now, I'd say he's staying.
Dan Bailey is number, I believe, 7 overall in terms of accuracy as a kicker. You don't cut somebody like that from a team, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Even if he's given you 1, 2, or 3 bad games, I mean, you just let him knock it out and continue to go.
Look at Mason Crosby with the Packers. He had a worse stretch, and they never cut him, and now he's one of the most accurate kickers in the NFL.
And I think that's the way it's probably going to go, because if you just look at the transactions happening in the organization right now, the Vikings worked out a kicker on Monday, I believe. They haven't gone forward with that. They recently released their only other kicker on their practice squad. So I think everything's pointing towards Dan Bailey staying.
Tristan Vizcaino was released from the practice squad, and they brought in Chandler Catanzaro. I don't know if that name rings a bell for you guys. On Tuesday, they did that. And obviously, they not moved forward with anything. It's looking more and more like they're going to hang on to Dan Bailey for the rest of the year and then evaluate their issues or evaluate the position in the offseason. I mean, if they lose this game, it's the season's over. It's time to go focus on the draft, trying to get your players healthy, make sure nothing dramatic happens to Dalvin or Kirk or any of the young offensive linemen that we have. But there's plenty of weapons in the offseason that are going to be available, and maybe addressing this position in the draft. I know people are like, why would you draft a kicker? Wait till the offseason until the free agents go through and everything. But there's a certain kicker I really love, and I've done a lot of research on him the past 48 hours of just being an angry Vikings fan. And I'll touch on that a little bit more later. But
is it a male, though?
What?
Is it a male? A boy?
No, it's the kicker from Miami. His name's Jose. He's pretty sick. He's all tatted up. He's a big boy, and he hits bombs. His name's Jose Borregales from University of Miami, the U.
I was checking to see if you were referring to Sarah Fuller at all.
Absolutely not. But SEC Player of the Week, gotta give it to her. Again, he's hitting 90% of his field goals, 100% from extra point, and he hit a career-long and a Miami record 57-yard field goal this year already. He transferred from FIU, so going into a bigger spotlight even proves that he can elevate his game. That, and he's cocky. He's got a little bit of, the swagger going on. And that's what we need in a kicker. We don't need somebody that's reserved. And look at some of the best kickers in the NFL right now. They all have a little bit of swag to them. Justin Tucker does his own thing. Harrison Butker has his little, celebration he does after making field goals. It's something that Vikings need. They need. And Sly can bench press a truck. So
I think in a kicker, I don't care about swag. I want someone that's going to make field goals. All right, just keep conversation flowing. I actually currently have all of the Vikings kicker stats throughout the history of the Vikings pulled up right now. And highlighted here during the Mike Zimmer era, Blair Walsh, Kai Forbath, and Dan Bailey. We won't even cover Daniel Carlson's one game with us. But actually,
what about Kari, the fifth rounder we gave?
Garrett Bradberry, who survived 2 preseason games before we cut him and sacrificed basically a 5th round pick for him. We don't talk about that either.
I will say kicking is definitely one of the biggest aspects of the name of this podcast and why Vikings fans are so.
But yes, Dan Bailey has played 43 games with us. He has missed 5 field goals, and 9 extra points in 43 games. In 73 games, Blair Walsh missed, according to ProFootballReference.com, he apparently missed 55 field goals in 73 games.
Yeah.
He's
Walsh
133 of 158, which
His
is
rookie season pulled up. So no, his rookie season he had a spectacular.
his rookie season. I think he missed 1 field goal.
I remember he was all the talk his rookie season.
Yes, his rookie season, he was 35 of 38 with the long at 56, and he was 36 of 36 on extra points, but I believe that was back when they were still from the 5-yard line or 10-yard line, whatever it is.
Was Blair Walsh still with the team when they were playing in the stadium, though, in the Dome?
2012, I believe, is when they moved to TCF. Maybe that was the last year in.
I think it was the last year. I remember seeing him on one of the pamphlets in the Dome, and he actually was, like you said, the rookie kicker, and he had, great stats. But you have to wonder if playing indoors also played a factor into that too.
2013 season is the last season they played, so his first 2 years were in the Metrodome, and once they moved outside, is when he missed 9 field. He missed 9 field goals, but he was still perfect on extra points. His decline was definitely the last year was 12-16, 15 of 19 on extra points. He was not horrible in Seattle, actually, but
overall, Dan Bailey.
Dan Bailey's by far the best option.
That 47-yard field goal against Seahawks. I mean, I remember we had first graders writing him "Don't jump off a cliff" notes.
I was in that end zone. I will tell you right now, everyone in that stadium was ready to strangle, take their turn smacking him in the face. I was the only sober person.
Next person.
Yeah, we were ready. People there were ready to tie him down and just take turns slapping him. But yeah, I mean, the best part is he was 2 for 2 in that game and was the reason we were even in a position to win. But yeah.
Anyways, going back to Dan Bailey, he's got 2 years left on his contract, and if we cut him this year, we're going to take a $2.15 million cap hit. And if we don't sign him next year, he's a dead cap, or if we cut him in the offseason, he'll have a dead cap of $2.1 million.
And that probably plays a big factor in the Vikings' decision as well, especially with.
So do you think we'll trade him away?
You don't trade kickers. I don't think anyone will trade unless we give him a pick with it for his 7th round pick. It would be him and a 5th or 6th for a late 7th. And most teams are okay with their kickers right now.
Oh, and he's got a player option going into 2020 or 2022.
All right. I mean, the general consensus is we stick with Dan Bailey.
Coming back.
He's not going anywhere anytime soon. All right. To keep the podcast flowing, we'll move on to the next topic. One that Noah is definitely an expert in. Let's have a talk about Kirk's mobility. Showcase with a career-high 41 rushing yards against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday.
I'm glad you bring it up, Isaac. Honestly, I'm excited for the future of Kirk Cousins and his rushing mobility. I'd say over the past couple of games, he's had – I got the stat sheet up here right now. He's had – like you said, he's got his most rushing yards of his career. I mean – the guy's on fire. You can't deny it, okay? I mean, he's got 335 over the past 3 games here. And that's more rushing attempts than he's had all season in terms of the last 3 games. I mean, the yardage too just adds up. And I think it's going to be a real mobile threat on the ground when it comes to next couple of games that we play against the Bears, especially since Dalvin's going to be shut down by the front 7 there. So
it's
Can I
also
say
very
something
impressive.
else about Kirk Cousins this year in general? I think he stepped it up in more than just his mobility this year. I think just all around. I mean, one of his biggest things that he was known for was being terrible in prime time, being terrible when the pressure was on him. But this year, Kirk Cousins is actually third in fourth quarter and overtime in PFF rating, with only Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes ahead of him. So that's got to say something big too.
Doesn't he have the most fourth quarter touchdowns in the NFL currently?
Yeah, I heard something like that.
I believe they said that during the broadcast.
But anyways, he's been killing it when it's crunch time lately.
I mean, you can see that as two different things, though. You can see that as him doing a lot better in the fourth quarter, or teams are just giving him a lot more garbage time. You know,
it's definitely a lot of garbage time.
A lot of garbage time when you're down 2 or 3 scores, and then you're able to toss a touchdown and burn off 7 minutes off the clock. You know, so
is that part of is it the blocking breaking down, or is it Kirk focusing on being more mobile? Because I remember at the beginning of the season, Kirk addressed me as saying, hey, last year I didn't move around the pocket. He did a lot of, vertical side-to-side workouts this offseason to try to improve his mobility. But it seems like this year the tackle positions especially have been, pretty good in the beginning, and it was the guards screwing us over with the Samia trilogy or whatever you want to call it, just failing. And lately it's been Brian O'Neill and Riley Reif getting absolutely torched. And we thought that Brian O'Neill was going to be, the future, stand-in right tackle for the next decade, I guess. But it's really, proven that teams are starting to figure out this offensive line. They're young. They can only run block pretty well. And the pass blocking is still an issue. So I don't know if it's more Kirk focusing on being mobile. It's that he has to be more mobile.
Well, the thing I noticed on Sunday, which is when he had his career high rushing yards, was when those running lanes open for him, he took the opportunity, which is something he never does. And it might be the fact that he's been sacked over 30 times this year. I believe it's 31 or something. But he took those opportunities, and my favorite part is he doesn't slide. He dives for those extra yards. He doesn't care. He has his money. Sean Mannion could finish the game. He doesn't care. He already got paid. But he's definitely sick of that pocket collapsing and getting hit constantly. I think that's why he's starting to take these risks of just tucking in and running.
Love to see
Yeah,
it.
with this
Love to see it
last
when he
game,
runs.
we had lost 52 yards off of sacks, which that's quite a game changer as well.
We'll talk about game changers. Let's talk about penalties. I mean,
this last game
was the most biased, and I don't know if it was because Roger Goodell was in the audience watching Tom Brady just go off against his young defense, which
Roger Goodell doesn't like Tom Brady.
Hey, Tom Brady goes off or throws a perfect dime down the middle. It was blown coverage by Anthony Harris. First off, he bit the run or the crossing route way too hard and left. Who's that? Number 26, Mark Fields. Is that?
Scotty Miller.
Open one-on-one down the field with
Scotty Miller.
Scotty, who runs one route. He's a burner. He runs a streak down the field. So, but the pass interference on Gladney. He got his first career interception, where Mike Evans slips in the end zone, is baloney, absolute bogus.
For sure.
And you can't review it this year.
I got another point about the PIs that game. That Hail Mary, pass interference
First one
on
in 20 years.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
You don't call that.
And that's put 3 points on the board there, too, at the very end of the half.
For sure.
Yeah, they got a 1 yard line, took a 3-point. We're lucky they took 3 instead of 6.
And then the hands to face on Kirk earlier on the game. No call.
He took an elbow to the head and they threw a flag for holding.
Yeah.
It was an obvious hold, but it should have been an offsetting penalty.
For sure.
Okay.
And special teams flags as well. I mean, Chris Boyd, how the heck does he have a job on this team right now? Like 3 weeks in a row, he had a holding penalty, and he did it back-to-back plays or something like that. after he did his little shenanigans where we ran the cold quit punt and he was wide open. He was like too excited to set into formation, so he got a false start on that. And I just don't like Chris Boyd. I'm just putting it out there right now. He needs to go.
Through 13 games, we have 74 penalties and 590 yards. With our opponents have committed 68 penalties and for 598 yards.
Jeez.
So,
hey, I have an idea. Why don't we try to lighten it up a little bit and start talking about Justin Jefferson?
yeah, I was actually about to bring that up, Justin. I was trying to find a good spot to get in there. You guys were getting a little heated. But yes, Justin Jefferson. Let's pull up his stats here. Receiving, Justin Jefferson, rookie wide receiver. He has started 11 games, and he is currently at 65 receptions on 92 targets.
Started 13 games.
He has not started 13 games. He participated in the first year.
Okay.
Anyways, he's been targeted 92 times, which is one more than Adam Thielen. He has 5 more catches and then 1,078 yards and 7 touchdowns.
He is only, I believe, 4 or 5 receptions away from breaking Randy Moss's rookie record for most receptions as a rookie, too. And he's on pace or close to pace to beating his receiving yard record as well, I believe, which is just incredible.
I mean, the guy, I guess I could say the kid because he's only 20 years old, but he is something special, and it's a shame that we didn't find in the beginning where we got those close games against the Colts, and the Seahawks, we didn't utilize him as much as we possibly could have. I mean, even this past game, we didn't really find him until the second half, till the fourth quarter, and by then it was too late. So, we need to utilize him. He's a great player. Do I think he's better than Diggs in the trade-off? Probably not at this point, but, hopefully we'll see in the upcoming.
Younger and cheaper, though.
The potential is there for him to become much greater than Diggs.
For sure better. But I'm saying value-wise, Diggs might have been better. But, it's great that we picked up him and we got lucky. Luckily, the Eagles are terrible at drafting wide receivers and, picked Rieger over him. But
they missed out on DK Metcalf and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there for what Justin brought up a moment ago. He's only 300 yards away from breaking the rookie receiving yard record, which is 1,377 yards by Anquan Bolden in 2003, and Randy Moss had 1,313. Yeah, 3 games left to go to get 300 yards. Not impossible. He's averaging. What is it?
70 yards a game.
82
yards a game. But, the first 2 games he did absolutely nothing.
And he was, the 5th receiver drafted?
Yeah.
He's going to win. He's going to win NFC Offensive Rookie there. He's got to. I'm sick and tired of hearing about these, quarterbacks and stuff. I would have given it to Burrow if he would have stayed healthy because he changed that team so much.
Yeah.
And Herbert's been doing good, but he hasn't made the impact that Justin Jefferson has made.
But also,
these stats, and that's about it.
But the thing is quarterbacks are the ones that have to make the plays. Justin Jefferson's relying on Kirk Cousins to get him there.
It's more the opposite. Justin Jefferson.
And Justin Jefferson is definitely a big boost to Kirk Cousins' stats right there. That's why Kirk Cousins currently at 3,300 yards and 27 touchdowns, but also 12 interceptions. But
just when I hear players talk, like teammates and other players, they talk about the number one thing I keep hearing is how he's playing like a 5-year vet and he's a rookie. And I can kind of see some examples of that too. Like when he catches tough contested catches, he'll hold the ball up in the air like only a vet would, and rookies would a lot of times pull that in and get it knocked out. But just like that and many more examples, I can see it as well.
He has strong hands, that's for sure. He'll make those catches and he holds on.
Probably
Sure.
also something to do with the person he is. He didn't get highly recruited going into college, and he had to work his way up basically from the practice squad of LSU to the starting roster. And when he actually got his chance, he really did prove himself. He's got a wide catch radius, and his speed's not unbelievable, but his route running is wow. We have I think we might have the best duo route runner wide receivers in the NFL with Thielen and Jefferson, and that just makes Cousins' job a lot easier if he has time in the pocket.
Well, we're the only team. We have 2 receivers in the top 5 of PFF grade, so that's also saying something there.
Wait, what are they putting in the water down at LSU? I mean, they've had nothing but just great wide receivers come out over the past couple of.
That's another
years.
point.
They have Jamar Chase coming out this year too.
I saw something earlier where they're like, okay, because in LSU, Jamar Chase was better than Justin Jefferson. So I saw something where like, if Justin Jefferson is this good, how the hell, like, how good is Jamar Chase? Like, what are we going to see out of him next year?
Then you have Odell and Jarvis Landry came out of there.
Crazy.
Be a shame if the Vikings drafted him, Jamar Chase.
When we were in the projected top 10 pick, I saw a lot of mock drafts saying that we would take Jamar Chase.
Do you think the Vikings? You guys think the Vikings need another slot wide receiver or a third?
We need someone more reliable than BC Johnson or Chad BB.
We're not going to use a first rounder on it though.
No. We'll go for someone like Jarius Wright, who we got in about, the 3rd round or something, 4th round.
I wouldn't hate it if they drafted Rondale Moore in the 1st round.
Talk about him.
Out of where?
He's a speedster out of Purdue.
Oh, yeah, that guy. I know who you're talking about.
The weapon down the field and in the slot. He's an electric returner. And that's something we should touch on is the returning. It has been – we thought that KJ Osborne was the guy. He wasn't. We thought that Chad Beebe was the guy. He isn't. We have nobody that can field punts without us having a mini stroke or heart attack. And we have absolutely – we just let the ball go in the end zone every time for kickoff. So, I mean, we need someone that brings out, explosiveness.
On this, through 13 games, I mean, the Vikings have 49 punt return yards. 49. Just let that sit for a second.
Wow.
Horrendous. On punt returns.
And we have forced 39 punts. I don't know. They've only returned 14, but still. 49 yards on 14 punt returns.
I still think, realistically, we'll probably go with the more boring pick and go O-line 1st round.
And I'm completely fine with that. I'm just saying, I wouldn't hate it if we drafted Rondale or some speedster wide receiver.
We don't really need 1st round weapons like that. We do need the line, though.
And I think they will.
We can wait.
I think they'll take a guard with our 18th overall pick because we'll be 8-8.
We've been first.
Moving on to the next topic. What the team needs to succeed next year, and I think we're already touching on that here. We've been talking about the draft and our special teams and interior offensive line.
Sure.
But Mitch has already pointed out a few guys that he believes we could draft that would help our team just get to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, as an offensive lineman, former offensive lineman in high school, I can tell when people have like a certain step and their certain hand strength and hand speed that makes them really successful. One of the guys that not going to fall to us, but I think will be a generational offensive tackle in the NFL is Penny Sewell out of Oregon. He is an absolute freak, and if he's there, I mean, he's 6'6", 330, and runs like a 4.7 40. And he just tossed people around last year at Oregon. If he's available, or if we can trade up to get him, we'll not have to worry about that left tackle or left guard or right guard position for the remaining 10 years. This guy is one of the highest regarded. I'm not joking around.
Well, I know he's insane, but how much are you willing to give up to move into the top 5?
I mean,
how much are you willing to give?
15
give up?
We'd have to give up someone big.
We'd have to give up quite a bit.
That doesn't seem feasible to me.
Yeah, Riley Reef and a second-round pick for your 5th
overall
this? Pick. I'll take
Barr.
Never. Who?
Anthony Barr.
Coming off torn by
coming off
torn
injury.
Bicep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
bigger than that.
Anyway, but
my favorite trade.
More realistically, a guard like Wyatt Davis, who's been their 3-year starter at The Ohio State University, is someone that's more realistic. And there's a couple other guys like Christian Darrisaw are getting more and more hype that can solidify this offense. So there's plenty of options that are going to be available for us at what I just said 19 or 15 or somewhere between there by the end of the year. That can definitely solidify. And another position we need to address is definitely edge rusher. As Justin was saying, I was texting Justin during the games, and he's like, how does Tom Brady have so much time in the pocket, and how does
we're currently projected the 15th overall pick.
Who's the Jaguars quarterback?
Gardner Minshew?
No.
Minshew? Glennon?
Yeah, Mike Glennon.
Yeah, Glennon.
Oh, Mike Glennon.
I mean, Mike Glennon looked like Pat Mahomes in the first half, which is all the daylight he had.
Well, I guess we could go off. You're talking about edge rushers. I think it's more even. I think our interior defensive line is worse than our edge rushers. Well, I guess it kind of goes to, do you think we'll get Danielle Hunter back next year? Because he's obviously an elite edge rusher.
You get Michael Pierce, too. So
Michael Pierce would be good. And honestly, a guy who I really like, I think DJ Wanham has been impressive as a later round rookie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's
been getting tons of pressures.
He's tied for second on the team with 3 sacks, not including Yannick Ngakoue, who leads the team with 5 sacks still after playing 5 games for us. Yeah, DJ Wanham has definitely been a pleasant surprise on that defensive line.
I think he's more of a let's leave him in the organization for a couple of years, kind of like a Danielle Hunter, and just put some more meat on those bones, and because he's got the frame of a Danielle Hunter. He's got the speed, edge rushing ability. We just need more time. We need to work with him a little bit more and put some more, muscle on that frame. But definitely he's somebody that we can think of. But I think we should also think about, do you guys think that Danielle Hunter will be with the Minnesota Vikings next year?
That's the tough question, because the rumor going around is that he wants to be the highest paid lineman in the league, which is kind of a big ask coming off a season-ending injury. But I don't know.
My favorite idea was to trade him for I forget what article it was, but this guy was talking about how Danielle Hunter is definitely worth a first-round pick, if not 2. And we could use him with a first-round pick to move into the top 5. He said to trade for the pick to take Trevor Lawrence, which I don't think we need to do. But if we don't want to pay him $25 million a year and he refuses to play, we'll have to trade him. All right, but so we should probably, we've been running for quite a while here. We should probably wrap it up, start wrapping her up. So for the final topic, let's talk about, like we said with DJ Wanham, some pleasant surprises on the season. Let's talk about the highs of the 6-7 team that we call the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, I know coming into the season, or at least after, like we saw in practice and training camp and everything, that Cam Dantzler had they're talking about how he had some skill, a lot of potential there, and he kind of let us down for a while at the beginning of the season. But these past few games have been quite good from him, and that's been a nice surprise, I'd say.
Definitely, Cameron Dantzler has emerged as probably our best cornerback on this team. Best, most consistent. considering that shit show that was the final plays of the fourth quarter comeback by the Seattle Seahawks. Can't cover DK Metcalf.
Yeah,
Nah,
I have a
that's
couple players that I would like to highlight as well. I mean, I kind of said that when after the draft happened, a day after, I kind of looked into our prospects a little more, and I was so high on Cameron Dantzler. I bet Justin, as you can probably touch on this, but I thought that he was the only player that Jamar Chase, as we talked about earlier, he shut him down last year in their game against LSU. It's just something that, he's got a small frame. He gets pushed around a lot, but he has that coverage ability and those abilities and talents that Zimmer can unlock further. So he'll definitely be a person that I will look into a little more. And another person I want to say is Garrett Bradberry. I feel like he's had a quiet but very good season with the Vikings. I know PFF has him graded in the top 10 for centers. Rookie year was iffy last year. He got pushed down a lot, but this year he's really, come onto his element, learned how to put that anchor in, and he's probably my top player I've been looking at this year.
Garrett Bradberry definitely. He's had his highs and lows over past years, but he's definitely figuring it out. Noah, Michael, why don't you guys give us some highlights of this 6th and 7th season? We could definitely use a little positivity.
One of my favorite guys to watch on the team, Duluth-bound CJ Hamm. Love to see him. This past game, he had a couple of receptions. You don't see that often from a fullback.
That man needed the oxygen, that is for sure.
He did, but he obviously takes off a lot of pressure from Dalvin, when he's running the ball, even helping Kirk in the pocket get some time. So you got to put some respect on the guy's name. CJ Hamm. Love those ham sandwiches, man.
CJ Hamm is definitely probably the most consistent Vikings player that we have had over the past probably 5.
That's true.
However long he's even been here. I don't even know.
I would say for me, it's not really surprising on the output that he's giving, but just that he's actually still playing, because he has been. I'm talking about Dalvin Cook. He has been every season gotten a major injury and was out for quite a bit of the season. So we're finally able to see that he is a top 5 running back in the league, and that he was not a waste. And it's just great to finally see him showing up and being great.
Staying healthy.
You'd hate to see the Vikings waste another generational player like that.
Yeah.
We have quite a few. But
and maybe close it up with we play the Bears on Sunday. So we got any predictions for that?
They got a good defense.
Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh God. Yeah, we're gonna win by 50.
I think it'll be
Michael, are you locking in on the 50-point win?
Let's make our predictions here.
No.
Let's go around the board and make our predictions here.
Let's start. All right, let's start with Noah. I'm going base right to left on who's on the top of my screen here.
No, I got to say it's going to be a higher scoring game. I got to agree with Michael on that one. I mean, we're going to be playing at home, indoors. It's going to give, I think, Kirk, it's not going to have his hands freezing out there in the cold Chicago Stadium. So I think we're going to get a lot of passing yards, and that'll alleviate it for Dalvin to run the ball a lot more on the ground. So I'm thinking 32-28 Vikings at home.
We got 32-28 Vikings, according to Noah. Michael, do you want to stick with your 50-point win prediction?
Oh, God, no. I was just saying because it's trash biscuit. But
and with 3 passing touchdowns in the first half last week in a win. But yes.
It's a fluke game. Okay, everybody's got those. Oh, I'd probably say 28-17 Vikings.
All right, 28-17 Vikings, according to Michael. Mitch, your prediction.
So Vegas has got Minnesota. Let's see here. I can't see the -3. So Minnesota's a 3-point favorite going into this game. And the Power Football Index has got Minnesota winning this game 59.4%. I think it's going to be a little bit – it's either going to go one of two ways. It's going to be a high-scoring game, and somehow Trubisky's going to manage this defense, the young defense that we have without Kendrick. I think he's been out – he was out today's practice schedule, so he was –
Eric Kendricks is still out with a ankle injury.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's going to be a really close one. I'm giving it to my guy Bailey for redemption here. I'm going to say – I'll go with the low. I'm going to go 21-20 Minnesota.
21-20, close game.
So you're saying that they're going to either do 2 field goals or miss an extra point?
I'm saying that Dan Bailey's going to hit 3 extra points.
All right, that is.
No, I'm saying on the Bears' end. Are they going to miss 1 extra point, or are they just not going to reach the end zone a third time?
They're not going to reach the end zone a third time. Dave Montgomery's going to get 1, and Trubisky's going to throw the ball to
Jimmy
Graham. Let's say.
All right, so we currently have 3-0 Vikings here. Justin, are you going to ride the train?
For redemption. 3 extra points. Give him 3 extra points.
Justin, you going to hop on that train and predict the Vikings win?
I think I will, and I do agree it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a big game for Dalvin in the receiving game. I think we're going to do a lot of those. We're going to go back to those screen passes to Dalvin, because they've got a great D-line, and Kirk's he's going to have to get it out quick. And I think Dalvin's going to be the redemption there, although it will be close, and this all rides on if Dan Bailey makes his extra points. I'm going Vikings 28-24.
All right, Vikings 28-24.
We're talking about
Justin
making extra points.
All right, I'm going to go against the grain here, and I'm going to say it is a late season matchup with the Chicago Bears in Minnesota. Historically, this is not a great moment for us over the past few years, where we tend to blow these kinds of games. The Bears, I think, they're riding hot after this last week. Mitchell Trubisky having a career day. I just don't think our defense is going to have the energy or the leadership without Eric Kendricks out there, as long as he doesn't play. Our secondary, same as all year, has been just battered with injuries. I'm predicting a Chicago Bears win 35-17. I will say Dan Bailey will make 2 extra points and go 1 for 2 on field goals. That is my prediction, 35-17 Bears.
That's quite a big difference there. Do you think we'll get blown out by the Bears?
If we don't get blown out, it either goes we'll get blown out or someone will squeak by with a win, a close win that's like 17-14. It all depends on which Mitchell Trubisky shows up, but I think he's playing for his job in his career.
Well, a ton of time in the pocket, so we'll see.
Yeah. He's currently trying out for 32 football teams right now. So thank God it's not Nick Foles again. Yeah, so. All right. Any last words?
Good luck,
No.
Skull Nation.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us for the inaugural Land of 10,000 Tears podcast. Hopefully we have a lot to talk about next week that's not Dan Bailey or losing and having the 15th overall pick at 6-10.
Subscribe, leave a comment if you have any questions for next week.
Yes, for all of you that will have watched this by next week, all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us that have watched this next week, we will comment with our burner accounts to get that conversation flowing. Pull a good old Kevin Durant. There's our NBA reference of the week. All right, well.
All right.
That's it.